Hi guys, so I'm back a lot sooner than I expected. I thought I was going to do this reading, the second part with the timeline, tomorrow because this was pretty intense. And then I feel like there's something wrong with me because I'm so obsessive about this. And I know a lot of people are too. So it's like I know that so much happens all the time that I think, okay, I have this question about the timeline. This question is not going away, and something else is going to happen. There's so many people to do, and I was like, okay, let me put out the cards, and whatever happens, I can always take a picture and do it tomorrow, whatever. Like, and then so I get the cards. It's a just count. So it's like six. So it's 24, like 48 cards total, right? 24 two card pairs, and I get the first read. I do one reading. I lay out the cards and I flip them to look at them, and I'm like, no, I must be imagining things. It can't be. I don't know because the ending cards. I got the ending cards at the beginning, so I was like, no, I must. I maybe there was a mistake with the question I asked because actually the question is really important, and I honestly didn't. I don't remember. I think I asked Donald Trump. What's Donald Trump and the Mueller investigation? And I don't remember. I know I looked at the cards and I was like, okay, does it say what's going to happen to him or what circumstances? It's just showing me circumstances. And I couldn't tell. So, okay, I was like, okay, let me do another reading where I clearly state the question, meaning what is going to happen to Donald Trump in the next 6 months as a result of the Mueller investigation. So then I had this very clear question. So I did a second timeline reading. Like I laid out the cards the second time. I took a picture of the first reading. And then, oh my God, let me show you. Okay, you're not going to believe it. So then this card, because on the first reading, this card showed up in the first position. And I was like, okay, that's what I was telling you. I was like, nah, I don't think, I was like, maybe I'm just, I don't know, I'm like making stuff up. I'm influencing things too much. And then it showed up again on the first, I'm like, whoa, so weird. I was like, okay, I can't say that it was the question because it showed up again in the first position, okay, for November. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this because it's already occupying my mind too much. And then, and like, I feel like I have to say this because it's so kind of scares me to be honest. Like, I guess it's not a bad thing. Maybe that it's so weird because like doing these readings, I realize I really enjoy putting the story together, right? It's I get into it and I see the story and putting together their story from the cards is really great, and I love how it's something that we all know, right? We're participating in this moment, so it's something collective and it's exciting in a way. But then when things happen that confirm something you've seen, it's kind of eerie because I remember when I first started these readings online, I it was because I had these questions. Like I said, I was like, oh my god, so I need to know more. And I love looking at I would watch other readings, and I liked the readings a lot. But I had so many more questions that I couldn't. I had to do more. And one of the first readings that I did, I had seen on the news the thing about Roy Moore in Alabama. I don't. I live in New York. I'm not in Alabama. I don't know anything about I had never heard of the Democrat candidate. So I did the reading because I'm always like, oh, maybe it's just a way of like telling stories. Okay, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Like I don't want it to be, and I still don't want it to be about the prediction. This is what I predicted. Nothing like that. Okay, it's just what I really love about this is the connection to storytelling and how I believe all of us humans need stories to make sense of our lives, right? So this is what's like really interesting and exciting. But anyway, so I did the reading, and the reading stated clearly that the Democrat is going to, even though Roy Moore has I think he still has a massive lead. It said that he was going to win, but that because this candidate, something about the candidate was going to come out, some secret, and that everything was going to fall apart for him. It would come to a sudden ending. So then one of my most loyal followers, like I don't say followers seems so pretentious, but one of the people who comments very often, she posted something on the comments, and I went back to look at the cards on that reading, and I was like, oh my god, whoa. It's I'm not saying this because of what I predicted, quote unquote, but because of the cards. Okay, guys, remember how it's like so. And again, I don't want you to be like, this stuff is gonna come true, everything else is gonna come true. But I'm just like, I am shocked. Like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. So you know how I always say, I'm always like, okay, what does it mean that this card always comes at the end for everybody? So this was it was a reading where the candidates each had two sets of cards. Okay, I'm sorry, three sets of. It was like three positions. So do one, two. So basically six cards, three positions. And this was the card that he got in the end. And the person who left the comment said that a secret came out about him and that they're calling for him to be removed. Okay, can you imagine? Because I'm like, and I was like, whoa, this kind of it kind of creeps me out, but it gives me hope that maybe this is actually going to come true. Can you imagine? I'm like, oh my god, this is so crazy. So anyway, so then when I saw this scythe again on the first position when I did the reading, so like I said, I did the reading once, and because I thought, oh no, I'm influenced. There must be something wrong. So I did it twice with a very focused question because I thought, oh, maybe it's no, but it came again. So guys, this is what I'm saying. It's like, hopefully, this is true. Okay, who knows? But like I said, I'm always torn between. I just want to read the story. That's my thing. I love reading the story, but at the same time, I don't want you to be like, oh, this woman I saw on the internet that she says, what she said came true, so this is going to come true. It's not like I have like some ownership of truth or whatever happens. I'm just stating what I'm seeing. I'm reading the symbols and I'm creating a story, and I show you the cards, so it's not like it's like my seeing something in my head, or it's something that you can relate to and participate in. So anyway, so then after, of course, after I found that out, I thought, okay, I have to go back in and I have to finish this, meaning make the video, because oh my god, I'm kind of excited about it, and I have so many other things to do, but I'm so consumed by this, it's crazy. Okay, and I know I'm very flattered by so many nice comments, and I know I can't do this forever, and I know I don't have. It's like I have so much. I have a lot of things to do, and I really like doing this, but anyway, I don't want to talk about my other things, but I just want to. That's all I wanted to share with you. That it's a little nerve-wracking, a little crazy, in a good way, I guess. But we're gonna go back here, and again, because I felt this like weird compulsion to go back and finish the thing about Trump, the thing about the timeline. So here I am, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the timeline, and the format of this reading is exactly like the format of the reading on the Mueller investigation, the 6 months of the Mueller investigation. So basically, each month gets 4 positions and 2 cards on each position. So that's that. Okay, so it's basically 2 little vignettes, 2 little stories. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the month that we're in now, which is November. Okay, and again, I'm going to give the warning. Again, I don't want anybody to think, oh, you said this is going to happen, or I don't know, right? I mean, maybe it's just part of it's going to happen, something's going to happen. Who knows? I'm just describing what I'm seeing. Okay, all right. So I feel like this is, again, I'm like kind of like so shocked and kind of scared almost. So you know how I said the other reading, the same the first card was also this one. Now I don't remember which one was underneath, but on the second one, it's the second reading. What is this? This is the Ace of Swords. So this is a card of victory and clarity, but I can't help but connect the two, because basically I feel like this is telling me something. It's saying, look, I'm telling you once and I'm telling you twice. It's going to be either by sword or by scythe. Okay, so it's like something is going to be cut. Okay, because obviously the symbolism of the sword is something suddenly kind of quickly, clearly cuts out. And the same thing with the scythe. On in the tarot, the Ace of Swords is not a bad. It's not bad at all. It's actually victory and fast and things like that. It's not bad. But in the Lenormand, it is pretty bad. I mean, sometimes it can be a good card, but not in this context. I don't think. Okay, it's a card of sudden endings, sometimes decisions. But it's just saying this is the first card, and it's a swift cut, sudden swift cut. Okay, and what is underneath? Okay, Page of Cups reversed, child with tantrums, and an actual immature child. So immature man that has tantrums is going to be cut. That's the first column, January, okay? The second column of January says disappointment. Somebody's disappointed because oh, and just a reminder that the question was what is going to happen to him? Okay, so it's not necessarily about what he's going to do or something that he's going to put in motion. It's something that he's going to receive, right? Something that he's the recipient of something. Okay, so he's disappointed, and there's guilt. So guilt, like I said, this card could be burden, karma, basically, but it's essentially, in my personal interpretation, this means guilt. It could be religion. There's many things, but because this is a card of things you carry, and because it's so intensely personal and a kind of, how when you feel something like you've done something wrong, or there's something that you always carry with you and you don't understand why you feel so strongly about something that seems insignificant. I feel like that's karma. That's when you have an inexplicable sense of something. Okay, and so in a way, that's what I feel. I feel like this is karma and this is guilt. Okay, but guilt, since we're really dealing with the investigation, obviously this has a legal context too. So what's underneath this? The person who will go all the way to accomplish his goals, not caring about anything else, and the man. So the guilty man, disappointment of the guilty man who will go at any length to accomplish his goals. And if we lay them next to each other, it's immature child, it has tantrums, and the man who's willing to go all the way. So it's basically the man child, okay? And the other pair, side by side, is end of guilt, right? End of burden. And I was thinking about this too, that we are also feeling, it's not that we're guilt, but the other meaning of this card is that burden that we carry, right? Don't you all feel that you have this like very heavy weight on your mind all the time, that there's something wrong? Like, obviously we're not guilty of this, but it's like this thing that you carry. It's like on your mind all the time, and it's very stressful because I'm thinking everything. I'm like, okay, I stopped everything I haven't stopped everything, but I'm putting a lot of energy into these readings, and I'm like, because I need to know. It's not because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like do some readings on the, like, I really have a sense of urgency about this, and maybe this is it, is that we are all carrying this burden in a way or another. Okay, all right. So this was November. It's almost like it starts with a bang. Okay, and okay, so that was November. Like I said, I always like want to, at the same time that I want to share what I'm seeing, I also don't want people to get really like this is for sure or something. Okay, so moving on to December. So here's the older man, okay, with again emotional problems. It continues, right? So it's a person that has even more tantrums and mood swings, okay? And underneath, I've talked about this. It's the card. This is the card of prison, okay? A lot of money. So I have the feeling that this storyline means the crazy man is having tantrums because he fears going to prison for all the money, all the massive quantities of money, or some money exchanges, okay? And this is like it's so funny now that to make the video is a whole other experience, because when you put this story together, I'm seeing, right, I look at the cards and I see the story, but when you communicate the story, it comes together. stronger, right? Because you have, again, you're not just seeing the cards, you have to put them together and create the story. So, like I said, the first row of December was old man with mood swings because he fears going to prison for money issues. And this is a card, positive card of a lot of energy, getting things done, okay? Like going forward with focus, getting things done, and an opportunity. Okay, so what's this opportunity? And this is like, it's like one of these cards where you're like, oh my God, kind of excited about it. So I said before, this card hasn't come up lately a lot, but it's a key card. It's an important card in the Lenormand because it stands for it's some specialists say that this is the most important card, that whenever you get it, it's like it means that there's going to be a solution to the problem. And when it comes up in a reading, it's telling you what the biggest issue is, like what's the most important thing. Okay, what is the most important thing? I'm like kind of excited. Justice upside down. So what does it mean? It means that there's going to be a legal outcome, negative legal outcome to Donald Trump in December. Okay, which is of course exciting. So what I feel is that there's this energy. The people who are working in the investigation are very energetically and very focused on this opportunity to deliver a negative judgment. Because the important thing to see here is that the key is on top of the justice card, meaning this is the solution. This is the most important thing that you have to remember, that justice is going to come, and it's gonna not going to be a friend to his. Okay, so it is going to come, and this is the opportunity. Okay, and it's funny because I do these looking at this, right? It's like this sea of cards, and I'm like trying to find a reason, and it's telling everything very clearly. And it's funny because when you have to kind of cut the reading into separate time frames, you have to you don't have the room to look at the other. You have to do this and this and this. So December is just saying that he's kind of is going to go even crazier, and that's the moment where justice is going to take go get in and say and create not create come to the wrong not wrong come to the decision that is detrimental to him, and that's the solution of the whole reading. Okay, that's what's pointy because the card this key card points to that. So okay, moving on to January. This is a card of competition, heated arguments. It's not that bad, but it's when competitive environment, a lot of not necessarily fight, but just a lot of conversation, a lot of debate. Okay, and this is a card of opportunity. It can be an invitation, can be an opportunity or of money or something. And this was one of the last cards on like the last Trump reading, right? The story reading. And this is the con artist, the trickster, okay? And this is a card, Stork hasn't come up a lot, but it's a card of moving on to better pastures, a card of moving house sometimes it's a card of having children, pregnancy, but it's basically indicates a positive change in a I don't know if it means a new direction. It means that something it's like you get a promotion or something, you move on to something better basically. So what it's telling me here is that through this process of a lot of debate, there's a gift. Like thank God. There's an opportunity to move on from the trickster. Okay, this is I don't believe that's him moving on to better pastures. It's that for us, it's a consequence of so what's going to happen to him. It's like he's the trickster. So, but I feel it as if we are having the opportunity to move on to something better. Okay, because I'll show you why. This is like so interesting. So this is the second row of January. So this is a Queen of Swords, and Swords is a card of mental energy, focus, and it's upside down. So in this case, it has a connotation of lack of focus, but also anger, like a lot of like angry woman or whatever. I hate that. There's a meme, right? But it's like and this is a card of public. It could be social media, but it could also be public. And what I feel it's saying is that the public is very angry. And here underneath, what is the public angry about? This um, this ungodly alliance, I guess, or the relationship gone wrong, and loyalty. And what I thought about it a lot, thinking, okay, what does this mean? Does it mean that these are his loyalists, or that are because of this alliance underneath? Is it because the alliance means that he wasn't a good president, that right, he failed in what he committed to doing? But I feel like ultimately what this means is that the dog card is a card that essentially means a good person. Of course, it's contextual, right? It has come up in a lot of for a lot of people in this group of readings as somebody who's loyal to whatever cause. But I feel like in this case, because the dog is always is one of, let me see, a few cards that means a good person, but it definitely means somebody you can trust. When you could, for example, if you ever do a reading on like, can I trust this person? Would this be a good business arrangement? Like this card comes up, it's very good. It's like you can handle this person. So I feel like the public is angry, but it's the good public, because you know how there's all this talk about, oh, his base is angry. Oh, they're angry. I don't believe, for some reason, and I feel it pretty strongly, that I don't believe these are his loyalists. Also because the public, you know how people, there's like again the talk of his base, but if you think of the public, who is the public? The public is the majority, right? So his base is not the majority. So therefore, I don't believe this is his people. This is just good people, like the public is angry and they want a good person away from this, right? This situation with the alliance. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. Again, it could be that it's so that it's like there's some issues with his beliefs. But again, I don't believe. I just think that it's just the people want the good person. Okay, so I'll tell you why. Because here next to it, it's the move on. Like, so moving on from the con artist and trying to avoid the wrong alliance. Moving on, because if you move on to something positive, it's basically stating that the next thing has to be positive. So it'll be strange if it was moved to something. I mean, like, what could be worse, right? In a way. So it's just like moving on to a good person that we can all trust. Okay. And then here, the opportunity through a lot of debate. It's a gift to the public, a gift to the angry public. Okay, gift to the angry American public. So that summarizes January. Now moving to February. Okay, I got myself water and tea. Because I knew I would talk a lot. It's going to be a long reading. Okay, so we are at beginning of February. So here it means moving on from the spread of something, okay? Or also, this is pretty interesting in the context of the nation, right? It means this is a card of defeat. And like this, it means moving on from defeat. And this is a card of expansion, but it's also a card of hope about a future. So in a way, I feel like it's a moment where we begin to move on from a defeat and think about hope again. Because I'll show you why. This card, Chariot, is upright. Chariot is a card of hope. Oh, I'm sorry, not hope. Of victory. Good victory, right? When you have a goal and you work diligently towards something. And what is this? An election. The crossroads, right? It's a choice, opportunity. But basically, in the context that we're looking at, it means an election. So it's hope for the correct victory in an election. Moving on from the false defeat, because that's also what it is, into a true and victorious election, okay? And this is a Wheel of Fortune upright is, of course, very good. It means just good luck and things moving on for the better. And this is things moving on for the worse, okay, or like a reversal of fortune, really, okay. And this is a card. It could be card of boss. It could be card of money. And this is Page of Pentacles. And I believe the Page of Pentacles just means something about money. So at the heart of it, at the heart of maybe his heart is money. So he's a person who cares about money, but there's going to be a reversal of fortune for people who only care about money. Okay, which is great, right? I believe that it's also saying a change of values, right? The values that are wrong, the values that are, yeah, they're just basically the people that are basically hard, right? What do you care about? Who you are, money. So the people that only care about money, there will be a problem for them. Okay, once the wave changes and the country finds I don't want to say as I've said before, it's like this hope, right? When it was like you want to turn things right. It's almost like you're wearing a shirt and you were wearing it wrong and you put it in the right, you're wearing it the right way again. It's kind of how it feels, okay? There's not going to be room for those people who only care about finances above people, okay? That's what I'm getting anyway. And now we're going to move on to March, okay? And of course, these things, I have to remember that these are things that are going to happen. I asked what's going to happen to him. And I believe that these are things, because what I see here is that these are things that affect us, the public. But of course, because he's the president, whatever happens to the public happens to him, and whatever he does affects us, right? So then whatever happens in the public and in the fate of the country affects him because he's the president, all right? So again, just going back to this reading in March, I'm going to start March. So first card we have is the White House, and this is theft. So moving on, the house moving on from the theft, okay? And this is a message, card of a message or good news, and the Sun. So what I feel is that there's going to be more to come out about the theft, about the illegality that was going on in the White House, and there's going to be clarity. Because the funny thing is, and some people have, there's a lot of left me nice comments on the videos, and I also have received some nice messages on email. And what a lot of people say is that we need some guidance or clarity on this issue. And that's what I feel this means, right? It's the clarity, because for so long, it's like we're living in this world of darkness, right? Both literally in the sense that it's dark, negative things, but it's also that we don't know what's going on. We know there's a lot that's wrong, but they're just lying constantly. So March is a moment where there's light again. That's what it feels like, right? We're looking at the shady stuff that was going on, but there's light again. Okay, this is the first row, the first column. The second column is the house upside down, and I've said this before. I think it was the other reading I just did earlier about him. This is the house. This is the home. Happiness at home, family. And if we look at this in the context of this being a reading about the president, the home means the entire country, right? So if it's upside down, it means disarray. It means lack of balance at home, family in fights, okay? And this is the fox. So it's basically showing us the shady stuff that was going on probably in order to turn the country upside down, or whatever was making, right? It's something happened. Like I said, fox is something happening behind the scenes, shady deals, okay? And then the country upside down, okay? And then this is a card of rest, peace of mind, quiet, turned upside down, restlessness. Basically, that's the definition of restlessness in a letter. So what this is telling me is that a lot of stuff is going to come out. Written things or maybe documents are going to be revealed that are going to cause a restlessness in the Fox people who turn the country upside down. Basically, you're going to find out more of these communications. And of course, if this is the reading about the president, he's going to be very restless about the stuff coming out, of course. Okay. And again, it seems like I just show you here, the month of March is the month of some clarity and us knowing a lot more about all the shady stuff that happened in the White House and the process of turning the country upside down. But it looks like we get clarity. Hold on 1 second. We got clarity through some sort of letter, okay? Through a document or a letter or a written message. Okay, this brings clarity about shady stuff to turn the country upside down and theft at the White House. Okay, so March is the month of clarity and more information, okay? And then, interestingly enough, okay, so of course, the snake, which is represents the president pretty well, and the lover. So this is a person who had a deal, okay? And his world comes to an end. And I'm sure people will be like, okay, well, the world card, the world comes to an end. No, I don't think it's the world coming to an end. I think it's his world comes to an end. And the world card is always very positive, but it also has this connotation of end of cycle. It's the end of something. It's the final. And I feel like for us, it's the end of a cycle, of the cycle of the snake, okay? So it's the end of the snake cycle, God willing, okay? And then the second column is the devil upside down and the bird. So I've said this card has come up sometimes for, of course, the devil is it's like the old joke. What? The devil? This administration? No. You're just the greatest and nice. Aren't they so kind and caring, right? No, of course not. So basically, it means moving on from the vice, from the illusion, from the lies, okay, that humans create and talk. So it means that there's going to be a lot of conversation about how to move on from these lies, from all the shady stuff, all the machinations, all the Machiavellian stuff going on. And heartbreak, wanting to move on from the pain of a secret, okay? So, okay, let me so again, so it's a lot of talk, a lot of conversation about this very painful secret, which is basically the secrets that I guess were happening in the White House or that happened and created the situation at the White House. So let me show you quickly. All these cards, because it's the ending, so I want to show. Let me just try to organize this. Maybe I should have some paper clips or something. Hold on. Okay, front, upside down. Yeah, so just because I just want to show you the ending, how it ends, because I think it's important, since it kind of wraps things up nicely. Okay. All right, so let's look at this here. I hope you can see. Okay. So the first card, oh my God, I hate this one. Okay. All right. So this is the first row here. The end of the world, the snake world. Okay. It's like goodbye, snake world, the reign of the snake. And a lot of conversation on how to move on from the pain, the secrets that brought so much heartbreak. Okay. And then just because it's like I said, it's just a four card set reading. So here it's the snake that had deals and conversations about how to move on from the snake. difficult conversations, okay, about the problem person, about the snake. A lot of debate, I feel like, okay, the end of this era, right? The end, the completion of the cycle where the snake was involved in dealing with the painful secret. Basically, the ending is showing also the ending comes as a consequence of the secret, right? Once the secret is revealed and we deal with, in a way, it's probably going to be painful too, how to rebuild from this, right? How to rebuild once we have to deal with sort of what is that, the five, however many stages of grief, because we're so angry at everything. And the more we, once we find out, who knows what is, we find out everything and how many people are involved, it's just so depressing, right? But it's very interesting. I found this to be um, right, because in a way, it's not that I have to watch this again once I'm done in order to capture this story in a brief, not sort of soundbite month by month, but I feel like it's a very clear and a very interesting portrait of how this country is going to deal with this president as it looks like he's moving on, right? How there's just so much at, not just at stake, but there's all these little parts involved, finding out who the guilty people are, what the deal was, and justice, like how hard, not how hard, but how much energy had to be put into place in order to make justice happen when there was so much working against it. And then the public being angry and feeling like we're finally moving on, and the change of the atmosphere in the country towards something more humane, I feel like. The revelation of all this shady stuff happening behind the scenes, we're going to find out more, and an end of the snake cycle, okay, and the revelation of the secret, and then the country having a conversation about how to move on from these illusions, how to maybe prevent them from happening in the future. I don't know. So, whoa, that was intense, kind of crazy. All right. Oh my God, I feel like kind of elated in a way. I don't know if it's true, but I feel like I've been through, I've felt these emotions or something. So, so that's the timeline based reading for Donald Trump. And the question was, what is going to happen to Donald Trump in the next 6 months as a consequence of the Mueller investigation? Okay? All right, guys. So that was it. Thanks for watching. Bye.